I can't pinpoint exactly when the idea first took hold. It wasn't a sudden spark or a single life-changing moment. It crept up on me gradually, like a shadow that grew larger each year, until one day I realised it had completely wrapped itself around me. The very first time I considered doing something with my hair beyond running a comb through it, the thought frightened me. Hair, at least the kind of hair I admired, belonged to girls, or so I'd always been told, and I was a boy. Still, I couldn't shake the curiosity. It was the 1960s, and hair was already tangled up with culture and identity. My own grew long enough to brush my shoulders, which demanded care I hadn't been prepared for. Towels weren't enough anymore. My hair needed hours to dry. I learned about conditioners, detanglers, and the endless parade of bottles promising shine, volume, and beauty. By the 1970s, in college, I had stopped going to barbers and started visiting stylists. That simple change opened a new world. A salon was more than a place for haircuts. It was a theatre of transformation. I'd watch people walk in one way and walk out another, and I began to wonder, what if I could change too? But my curiosity wasn't simple. It carried fear, shame, and questions I didn't yet know how to answer. I envied the girls I knew, their freedom to reinvent themselves with curls, waves, and colour. I worried that my interest meant something forbidden, that maybe I didn't just want their hair, maybe I wanted to be like them. Still, my fascination deepened. I bought shampoos for their scents and textures as much as their effects. I longed for volume, for curls, though I feared being found out. I even experimented with home perm kits, fumbling with rods and bottles in secret. But I never had the courage to see it through. Sometimes I tried temporary dyes, just close enough to my natural shade to avoid questions. Marriage shifted things again. Watching my wife care for her hair, washing, curling, colouring, only drew me in further. Her sister, a hairdresser, often turned our kitchen into a miniature salon. I watched with longing, but never dared to ask for myself. Instead, I lingered on mall benches, pretending to wait while secretly staring into salon windows. Over the years, the world changed. Salons began advertising perms for men. I even saw men walk out with them, but still, fear chained me in place. What would people think? What would they know about me? My wife, to her credit, never mocked my hints. I sometimes borrowed her rollers or curling iron in secret, always washing the evidence away before she returned. Until one day, about a month ago, she came home early and caught me, hair set in her hot rollers. I expected laughter or anger. Instead, she surprised me. "If you want curls that badly, you should get a perm." She even suggested her sister could do it as a birthday gift. I panicked at the thought of someone I knew seeing me that way, so she calmly offered another solution. Then go to a salon. "I'll pay for it." And just like that, the decision was out in the open. She recommended a discreet little salon called The New You, tucked upstairs in a strip mall. Perfectly private, yet terrifying. My heart hammered as I finally picked up the phone. "I have fine, limp hair. Is there a way to give it more body?" The receptionist didn't hesitate. "Yes, sir." "A perm sounds like exactly what you need." That was it. My name and number written in their appointment book. No turning back. The days leading up to it were a blur of excitement and fear. My wife handled the details, even calling the stylist herself. She told me to take the afternoon off work, to give myself time to adjust. The night before, I barely slept. Friday morning, I showered, dressed, and nearly drove away at the last second. But I remembered her words. "Heather knows what to do. Your hair will look great. Promise me you'll come straight home." So I parked, gathered my courage, and stepped inside. The salon smelled of shampoo, hairspray, and faint chemicals. Music drifted softly in the background. The receptionist, Sue, greeted me warmly as if nothing about my presence was unusual. Her kindness soothed my nerves. She even offered me wine while I waited. Then Heather arrived, slim, red-haired, confident. She explained that my wife had requested a piggyback perm, perfect for long hair like mine. It was slower, more intricate, but the results would be worth it. Soon I was wrapped in a robe, glasses off, seated in the chair as she sectioned my damp hair and began winding it carefully around rods. Without a mirror, everything blurred into sensation. The tug of each curler, the hum of the salon, the rhythm of her hands. The hours stretched out, filled with soft reassurances and quiet anticipation. My head grew heavier as more curlers accumulated, and I realised that after decades of longing, secrecy and hesitation, I was finally here. I didn't yet know what I would see when Heather turned the chair around, but I knew one thing. Whoever was staring back at me would not be the same person who had walked in. I was about to meet someone new, someone I had been carrying inside me all along,